Good evening. Here is just a quick update on the off-duty officer Rampage case out of Bluefield, West Virginia. That's Mercer County, West Virginia. And that is the case where the body cam footage caught the off-duty Bluefield police officer going in my client's bar, physically assaulting him, physically attacking him, then physically attacking his fellow police officers over and over and over again, also his girlfriend. I believe that there is an investigative reporting piece by a local TV news outlet that's going to air this evening, as far as my understanding. In their investigation, it was actually revealed, and I hadn't noticed this before, but take a look at these screenshots. Now, obviously, this guy is on a rampage, and it's not a tinfoil hat theory to assume that this guy might have been drinking. But there's actual video proof now. Take a look at this screenshot still. Now, this is after the rampage had happened. This is when the fellow coworkers are looking through the off-duty officer's car and looking at his handgun that he had fired at the scene there that night. They're looking for shell casings and all that. But if you look closely, and I hadn't noticed this before, but the TV news station noticed it, take a look at what he has in his car. If you look closely, he's got a can in the cup holder. Now, I don't know if it can be observed whether or not that can was open. I'm going to speculate that perhaps it was, based on the fact that I don't really drive around in my vehicle with unopened cans in my cup holder. And I also don't act like a crazy drunk if I hadn't been drinking at least some alcohol. So if you take a look at that, you can kind of see a general color of the can, and you can also see some letters. I believe that this has been identified. Take a look at this other screenshot of a product that is out there on the market. I believe can probably be found at some local stores there in Bluefield, West Virginia. Red's Wicked Apple. Just by virtue of the can, says 8% alcohol volume. I believe that's more than your general beer. So it looks to be like a potential open container in the car after this off-duty officer had assaulted numerous people, had fired he'd been in a gunfight. He had been observed, as I showed in the video, driving up to the scene. So police officers had observed him driving. They had observed open container in that car. And was he ever charged with that? No, I can state for a fact that he was never charged with driving while intoxicated or really anything else other than domestic violence. He wasn't charged with physically attacking my client twice in his own store. He wasn't charged with physically attacking any of the police officers on the scene. So I'm interested in seeing the investigative piece that the TV news outlet there is doing. I know that they've done a lot of investigative work on it, obviously for pointing this out that I even missed. And as far as that, an update on where we go from here, the prosecution in that case is still going on. There's a special prosecutor, a special judge appointed, but all the off-duty officer is charged with is domestic violence, domestic battery. He's not charged with battery on my client multiple times. He's not charged with anything related to being in a gunfight. He's not charged with battery on umpteen different police officers. He's not charged with disorderly conduct. He's not charged with driving under the influence. He's not charged with anything other than pushing his girlfriend down on the video. And that's just a shame because it undermines the public's confidence in the criminal justice system. Now, we wonder why the public has no confidence in our criminal justice system. Gee, I wonder why. Look, you have somebody breaking the law and getting special treatment. So let's follow along and see what actually happens with the prosecution. because what they're doing is they're hiding the internal investigation by the West Virginia State Police under the auspices that the investigation is ongoing. That is an exception to their requirement to comply with our FOIA request. Now, soon as that prosecution ends, they're going to have to turn over their investigation report. Now, maybe there is something in there about a Red's Wicked Apple open container in the car. Who knows? But it never resulted in any criminal charges. I reached out to the special prosecutor in the case to see if there were other criminal charges coming, and basically the information I got was that nope, there's no other criminal charges coming, not even having to do with your client. So my client, for whatever reason, is not worthy of the usual victim status that other people would get when they're victimized. So it's a case of preferential treatment for law enforcement. And I can show you another case where they had political reasons not to give preferential treatment. So it's not every time a police officer is accused of something. This is a case, for some reason, this rampaging officer was singled out for preferential treatment and still getting it, in my opinion. That's what it appears like. So let's check out the investigative report when it comes out, and what happens with the prosecution, and we'll do another update video at that time.